And these core covenants cannot lead into a better introduction to our guest speaker today. Dr. Stanton Belford. Stanton arrived here at Martin Methodist College on a partial soccer scholarship. He arrived from the country of Trinidad. I recently learned that after he paid his tuition down payment, his fees, and his books, Stanton had $50 left in his pocket to last the rest of the semester. And I think he said he took part of that and bought him a new pair of tennis shoes at Marshall Harvard on sale for $12 back then. Since those days, Dr. Stanton Belford has earned 2 degrees here from Martin Methodist College, a master's degree from MTSU, and most recently his PhD degree in biology from the University of Auburn. Please give a warm Red Hawk welcome to one of our very own student athletes and now professor, Dr. Stanton Belford.
Well, I bet some of you were surprised, huh? I begin today, this is a dream come true. Being successful takes a lot of hard work, but I begin today with this quote. If I have seen further than others, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. It's not my quote, it's a quote from Sir Isaac Newton, English philosopher, mathematician, scientist, physicist, astronomer. And so, from an early age, I figured out that you have to have giants in your life. And so, you have to have giants. And I wonder sometimes, what are your giants? But I have information on my giants, so I'll just share a little of that with you today. Back in my high school soccer captain and coach encouraged me to go take the SAT exams as a prior requirement of getting into college. I took the SAT exam once, twice, 3 times. And I also took the SAT exams with 2 other soccer teammates, which they got scholarships, I stayed back. They got scholarships, I stayed back. And finally, on the 3rd try, I was able to get a soccer scholarship to the United States. Friendship and belief were my giants. Although it took a while, a few months later, while in Trinidad, a person in my little village told me, "You can't get a scholarship. Not from here. We have drugs here. We have everything you can think of here. You can't get it." Well, by golly, his negativity was my giant. A few months after that, I was at the lowest level of my life. I felt like I wasn't making progress. Success was taking a long time to happen. I approached my grandmother, now 93 years old, and she told me a story about a thirsty little puppy. She said, "Stanton, have you heard or listened to the sound a puppy makes drinking water?" I said, "Granny, what does that have to do with success?" She said, "Stanton, think about it. Have you heard the sound a little puppy makes when it's thirsty?" "I don't know. What are you trying to get at?" She said, "It sounds like this. Saki slow, say slow. Saki slow, say slow. Saki slow, say slow." I stood back. "Granny, okay, I'm confused. I just asked you, what does it take to be successful?" She looked at me. She said, "Stanton, it means what is yours is yours. What is for you is for you." So once again, confidence was my giant. A few years after that, working as a gardener, planting crops on the mountainside. Because it took so long, it took 6 years before I got my opportunity to come to the US. being a gardener, working on the land, the environment, provided that initial science for me, thus falling through with my dream as a science professor. So, once again, patience was my giant. Now I've did many jobs, from gardening to construction, and oh yes, to killing chickens by the hundreds. Patience was my giant. Back then in I was a little lighter and thinner. So I knew I had to come up, and so for the soccer, I played an attacker or forward to score goals. That means I would come up against the tallest and most rugged defenders. So I realized back then I had to be faster. So the hills were mine. So hills, sprints, more hills, more sprints, and yes, more hills and sprints again. And so I became faster. So speed became my giant. Arriving at Martin Methodist College, adapting to the rigors of study, work study, classes, 8 a.m. classes, professors, more work, more paper due, oh my gosh, exams, more and more, working at McDonald's. Yes, persistence was my giant. Dr. Rutherford, history professor at Martin Methodist College, once told me, why don't you go get your master's at Middle Tennessee State University, come back and teach. I had not thought of that since. And so I pursued that. Mentorship was my giant. At Middle Tennessee, I took a scuba diving class because I figured that as a future marine biologist, I would have to scuba dive one day. And because I took that scuba diving class, I have dove in 2 of the 5 oceans on the planet. Thinking of staying alive underwater was my giant then. Dr. Merle, academic dean here at Martin Methodist College, while I was wrapping up my master's, told me, why don't you go get a PhD? If you come back and you teach at Martin Methodist, I'll pay you well. Money was my giant. Dr. Brown, David Stevens, they were confident that my abilities to complete the master's while working here at Martin Methodist College, I can do it. Once again, confidence and comradeship were my giants. At Auburn University, changing major professors. Now let me tell you something to you future grad students. If you find a good major professor, you have found a good thing. Because when you have to change one, you feel like you've been kicked out into the road. So, being able to switch from biology to science education and remembering the advice from Jeff Bean, having a plan B was my giant. Opportunities to travel to Jerusalem, Jordan, the Dead Sea, Lake Malawi, Africa, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, a safari on land and water. Taking these opportunities was my giant. Coming home to teach science to you guys, a dream come true was my giant. Ask yourself today, who and what are your giants? I know mine, but I'm still looking for more. At Martin Methodist College, you have faculty, staff, coaches. Just ask. Nike says, just do it. Just ask. We're more willing to see you and help you succeed. Hey, if they don't listen, my office is in the science building. Come see me. Because I know what it feels like to be a student athlete. 2 things. You're always tired and you're always hungry. So I know what it takes. Let those be your giants. So, in conclusion, set your goals high. Attain your giants. Believe in yourself. Grab it. It's yours. Go big, go home, but stand on your giants. Thank you.